Brilliant. Man, that's really revolutionary stuff.
I know, the thing is, obviously she says a few comforting words.
Well, that's all anyone needs, really.
She said, but it doesn't have any balls, in my opinion. The reason I get direct payments and independent living fund is because I'm judged as having a severe disability, which means I have severe levels of mobility impairment. So I need support to do most things in my life of a physical and practical nature, from getting out of bed, using the bathroom, getting dressed, food preparation, to moving from A to B, getting into my wheelchair, getting out of my wheelchair, and if you like that, I see that as the basic framework. I would not be able to work without that funding. This is what is terrifying to me. I'm assessed as needing 24/7, and ILF pay roughly just under half of what it is, just under half. So whereas I know that the cap being 745 is slightly above that half, but it would not be enough to retain my personal assistance. I don't know if anyone else has said this to you before, but you're faced with these choices now. So it's like neglect at home, or residential care abuse. A lot of us are saying neglect. Kind of bizarre idea that you can eat sandwiches and lie in bed and use, incontinence pads is coming our way. Then that is effectively the end of my career. And I've worked very, very hard to create an area using the skills I have to pursue a career, really. There's an irony in that I would never be I've never been considered in quotes fit enough for work, and that's a whole different conversation, really, because I think that's to do with how we judge what's valuable in terms of being a nice Tory friendly work product. So we deserve to get out of bed. We have to take part in some crazy ideologically driven competition, because it's sickening. If you touch on things like DLA, I was given DLA when I was about 13, and it changed things for my mum. So this is the other thing with Independent Living Fund, is my mum's still alive, but she lives in Devon. I mean, she's coming up to 80, not a few years off 80. She will be horrified. Well, she is horrified. It's actually at the point my mum is thinking of, she's building up to writing to her MP, who is some sort of rural Tory type, to say, what do you think my daughter's going to do? My mum spent much of her later years leading up to retirement working. My brothers work, my sister works, and they are all completely happy to know that what they've put in is part of what supports me, if you like. And I tried saying this to my MP, who's Labour, but she's not been very supportive.
What was it, Emily Thornburn?
Yeah. She's not really, and she hasn't signed the EDM, which, if nothing else, if absolutely nothing else, it's a sign of support. I know Emily likes to think she does a lot around women's issues. Has she not stopped to think what the closure of ILF will mean to women? Women often end up on default being the carer. It's like you want to go get real. Talk to disabled people who are really going through this. Don't just come out with these sound bites. In fact, I wrote to Emily again last week and said that she was letting me down as a constituent, you know, and that Labour really need to pull their finger out on this. The basic idea of having this separate pot of money did give you choice and control. I also think disabled people have spent 30 odd years creating an identity away from the medical, you know, which is liberating. So it isn't about what's wrong with you as an individual, it's about what's wrong with society, which is overwhelmingly what discriminates against you anyway. So now you're being forced backwards into having to go on about how pathetic you are, if you like, as an individual with your poor legs and your this and your that, and you know, oh, I've got a heart condition. I have, but I shouldn't. You know, it should be very clearly structured that those are my impairments. This gives me choice and control. And I mean, even now, the idea of choice is being narrowed and narrowed and narrowed, because it's not just about choice. It's about essentials of daily living. Because it's 19,000, okay. So I think that editors maybe think it's not trendy and cute and in your face enough to receive that, but the ramifications, if you think that maybe I employ 4 people on a rota, different times, most people I would say that I know employ between 2 and 4 people. That's a lot of people who are going to lose their job. They've come into PA work because they don't want to do agency care. They don't want to go and work for some, you know, horrible company that's just in it for profit. And believe me, I know about them. I've had to use a few as emergencies now and again. There is absolutely no comparison. I'm all ready to. I will take Islington to court without question.